Welcome,
Welcome.
welcome.
Why did we have to say welcome?
welcome everyone to the Co-Mental Podcast.
Wow.
Thank you. All right. Oh, that's fun to play with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh, yeah. So, welcome to episode 3. You're
Yeah.
joined by your hosts Mujo and Dez. I might
Yes.
I might sound a little different because I came down with a cold. So I'm kind of just pushing through things at the moment.
Boo.
I don't know. I guess body got a little too exhausted, made my immune system vulnerable, and yeah. But I feel better now than I did this morning, though. So I mean,
That's good. I feel like
yeah,
that's a very common, like I get that with my sickness sometimes, where it's like in the morning you feel like crud because you just woke up and your body's been resting, and then once you like get a little bit movement going, then it kind of eases itself.
I'm drinking Snickers flavored iced coffee.
Mm.
I don't know if I should be drinking this when I'm sick, but I don't care.
We got to get through this somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, I have he's sick and I have came down with a migraine today. I guess because I stopped drinking the caffeine today, but just cuz like I was waiting till after work, but that may have not been a good idea. I probably should have had just a little bit of something.
That would do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
can't skip
mhm.
caffeine. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say I did eat healthy today, so I mean like that's a plus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But don't be like us. Don't get sick and don't skip caffeine.
No. No, no, no. All right. So on today's episode, so that was loud enough for me to hear it, by the way. I hope it's in the recording. I'm sure it will be.
Hey, coffee makes you do some things.
It do. Especially if you have a history of like digestive issues,
Mm-hmm.
aka me and Dez.
Yeah.
Yeah, clock it. Oh dear. Uh Yeah, the thing that sucks about, and me and Des talked about this before we started recording, but the thing that sucks, you know, one of the cons of taking like certain medications is that they may interact negatively with other like medications, specifically like cold medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason specifically why it's cold medicine is because sertraline in particular, and I guess other SSRIs by extension, since they affect serotonin levels. But I know for a fact sertraline interacts with cold medicines. There's two chemicals that can increase your like serotonin levels, which if you're already taking an SSRI is not good because you risk serotonin syndrome. Uh, One of them is dextromethorphan, dextromethorphan,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is it phenylephrine? Uh, phenephrine?
Nephren?
Phenephrine? Is that it? Whatever. Anyway, names, scientific names. Why are they so complicated? Anyway, uh,
Latin.
but essentially most Mucinex and well, Dayquil in particular, pretty sure you can't take any of Dayquil's actually due to them containing the second chemical that I can't think of. But essentially, they give you the risk of serotonin syndrome. I don't know why I just went into detail about that, but I just thought that was worth sharing because I was stuck in Walgreens for 15 minutes trying to figure out which medication I can actually safely take. And I boiled it down to basic Mucinex, which only has the one chemical called guaifenesin,
Mm.
which is an expectorant. It expects things, I guess. I don't know. Uh, but that doesn't interact with sirtuin at all. Fun stuff. That was my morning. So on today's episode, as we discussed previously, we're going to talk about the RAADS-R test. That's
Yes.
RAADS-R.
Yes.
Arg.
So Muyo and I decided that this episode is going to cover us independently taking the RADS test and seeing what our scores were for, or what they were, and see how it correlates to kind of like how we function on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say that, in my opinion, some of the questions on it could have been a bit more, I guess, fine-tuned.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the questions were a bit too broad, and
Interesting. Yeah, because
yeah,
there were some details that hit my mind, and I was like, are you referring to this? Because at this point, yes, but at this point, no. I had to start looking at it through the lens of, okay, like, did I ever struggle with these things? And at what age? Or do I do it now, sort of thing? And then that's how I had to acknowledge it instead of, oh my God, it was right there the whole time. Uh, um, but I find it interesting that you say that you felt like it was too broad, because there was times in the questions where I thought it weren't broad enough, like it wasn't flexible enough. Yeah.
no, that's fair. I think it was a bit of both, really,
Yeah.
come to think of it, because there were some questions where I felt just weren't specific. That's the word I was looking for. Specific enough
Mm-hmm.
in
Yes.
the way to answer them, and that definitely on those questions I had to just answer the closest to what the to what choices I was given. So for those that are unfamiliar, the the rats. So the test itself, they give you, I think, four choices each for each
Yeah.
question,
And
and
it's
it's
done by it's like me now and when I was young, me now currently, only when I was young, and not at all.
yeah, and it's meant to gauge like at what
Ooh.
sort of like, you know, circumstances and what situations happened
And
like at
with
different parts of
you,
your life.
but with you, like, and the reason I went ooh is because we've talked about this before, where you've stated that some of your childhood you don't remember. So it's like, how could you necessarily process or like evaluate?
Yeah, that made it a little bit more difficult on
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like thinking back on if I did certain things during my childhood. I know most of the things I did due to like very specific memories and also like stories that my mom would tell me about how I
Mm,
acted as a child. So
interesting.
I had to build off of that, but due to a unstable home life during childhood, I there's quite a bits there's quite a few bits that I just don't remember. Um, but I did answer it to the best of my ability, and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I
Yeah.
guess I wound up not retaking the test because I feel like I when I first took the test, it was like a couple weeks ago, so I don't think any of my answers would have changed really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also I take forever to take tests,
Bruh, whole
and
mood.
like the first time it took me like 40 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, Oh yeah. Yeah, I unfortunately have the ADHD that takes forever to do things.
Like to process and
Yes.
yeah.
I don't have the productive ADHD, unfortunately. So, um that sort of reared its ugly head when I took the test. But I did get it done. And I guess I will go ahead and share my score.
Yes.
I actually took a screenshot of it.
What was okay, so make sure you also clarify how many, like, what was the score base limit of where you had to be considered?
Yes. So we took the test on a website called Embrace Autism. They have a table listing the meaning of the RAADS-R scores, and it goes from like 25 to 240.
Mm-hmm.
So 25, you're not autistic.
Yeah.
You're not the autism. 50, some autistic traits, but likely not autistic. Yet some autistic people score as low as 44,
That's crazy.
which is fascinating
Yeah.
because that's very close to how a neurotypical would answer the questions. So, just interesting stuff. But technically, people on the spectrum can test as low as 44.
That's crazy.
65 is the minimum score which autism is considered.
Gosh, fuck. Oh no.
So, yeah, let's say we both, I think, probably scored quite a bit above
Yeah.
that. 90 is stronger indications of autism, although non-autistics may score as high, which is also interesting. So there's a bit of overlap between like 50 and 90 between how a neurotypical would score and how someone on the autism spectrum would score.
Yeah.
So that does make it uh landing in that range, I feel would make it difficult to definitively say if you
Yeah.
have autism or not.
Well, some people say like, "Oh, everyone's just a little autistic." And it's like, okay, maybe. If it's like a slight neurodivergence, like yes, people are unique and different, but by how much of that margin are you
Yeah,
different?
I also don't subscribe to the idea that
Yeah.
everyone's on the spectrum
And then I also look at
because
people and be like, well, how much does it interfere, impact your social development, your life choices, everything like that?
literally, I think some people confuse quirkiness with autism,
Yeah.
and those are not the same thing.
No, no. One might be more of a personality choice, and the other one is really a cognitive and developmental uh, difference compared to the baseline of childhood fundamental development. So
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So, yeah, I uh, I guess it's a topic for another day. I can go on a whole tangent about that.
yeah.
But RAADS-R.
What's your
Oh,
score? What's your score?
well, I'm not done.
You're
I'm
not
not
dumb.
done.
Oh.
No.
Oh, you are dumb. Okay.
Okay. Uh, okay. So at 130 is the mean score of autistic people. Strong evidence for autism. That's a 130.
Okay.
160, very strong evidence for autism. 227, which
Right.
is, I don't know why they made it quite the jump, but 227 is the maximum score autistic people acquired in Ritvo's seminal paper on the RAADS-R. Didn't know that was a thing, actually. That might be worth a read later.
Mm.
And then 240 is the maximum possible RAADS-R score.
Maximum autism.
um, so.
Oh God, it's over 9,000. Sorry.
You could be the maximum autist if you score 240,
Yeah.
and you would be above.
Way to go, be above and beyond.
I actually want to know if anyone's ever like
Right.
not on purpose scored 240.
What could you imagine being like, I'm just doing this for fun?
Talk about min-maxing. Anyway, so my score
Okay.
on the RAADS-R is a
Okay.
total of 138.
Okay. Okay.
And they split the score up into
Right.
4 different categories. The language subtotal is 10.
For neurotypical, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's part of how they added up the score. So
Okay.
all 4 sections they add up together to get the final score. And
Oh,
the higher those
okay.
subtotals, the more
Autistic you
autistic.
are.
Yes. So language is actually my lowest one at 10, which I guess makes
Interesting.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Social relatedness subtotal is 55.
Okay.
Sensory motor subtotal is 45.
Okay.
And circumscribed interest subtotal is 28.
So what was your highest?
Social relatedness.
Well, that's very validating. Yeah. Yeah, tell me what your thoughts are about that.
I mean, it makes sense, really, because I struggled a lot with social development growing up, and I have, or well, I guess I still do, but I do still STEM, like physically.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that those 2 are the highest makes sense for me personally. Yeah, I don't know. I was satisfied with it. It made sense, and to me at least. Yeah, that's all I really have
So
on that.
your lowest one was language, correct?
Yep.
Why? Okay, so tell me what you think about that.
Uh
So this is like the preference of, do you prefer writing and texting and visuals in comparison to actual communication and direct language?
yeah. I
You're
mean,
very, I mean, every time we've communicated now, I have seen you stumble over your words before. But I
a
do
lot.
think like, but I do think like you're very articulate. You can be, especially with, I guess, how comfortable or how relatable you feel to someone.
I'd like to think so. Yeah. I guess yeah, I guess language is one of my stronger suits, and definitely I think like the stumbling over words definitely comes from my ADHD side more than my autism side for sure.
Mm,
But I don't know. I do try to communicate like directly, and the one particular thing that my mom noticed like when I was a wee child
a
is
wee little
that
boy.
it actually took longer for me to learn how to speak than my sisters.
Mm.
Um which is also a possible sign of autism,
Hmm.
but
Delayed
usually
development. Hmm.
delayed development, yeah. But I don't know. I guess after I started talking, I just kind of develop normally as far as I'm aware. So
Yeah.
there are definitely still certain ways that I articulate things and communicate things that I can attribute to autism, but it makes sense that for the most part, I've learned how to communicate the way that society expects me to. So I think that's another big part of the scoring. If you learn to mask well, you don't appear
Yeah,
as autistic.
that's true. That's true. A lot of like the questions, I did have to also think about it in the lens of, okay, was this like something I actively struggled with? Or was this something that I low key like alternated and fixed due to masking? Because, like for example, one of the questions was, how do you deal with like, can you like, oh, I can have small talk and make friends easily. I can make friends easily. Just because like I do kind of understand like the what do you call like the I guess like a lot of my interests can stem around like pop culture too, and so like I can usually find something to relate to people, whether it's like people's problems or stuff that they're interested in. Now, does that mean that's like my personal interest? No, but I learned to kind of blend in, so to speak. Um, and it's, you know, so that's where I had to look at it and be like, was I doing this to blend in, versus what I actually prefer? So I had to read it almost like preferences too. Because it's like, yeah, I can do those things, but do I enjoy doing those things? Do those drain me? You know, all these like factors I had to like apply to the questions, especially with younger adolescents compared to my age now. Um, so there was that, you know, analysis.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for me, uh, I have always disliked small talk
Mm-hmm.
because it felt pointless to me.
Literally.
Uh, and I am in the process of unmasking myself in
Mm,
public.
I feel that.
And one of the first things I did was just to not try with small talk.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
that shit is liberating, man. Because especially since, so the reason I couldn't do it before was because of my social anxiety.
Hmm, hmm.
I would feel obligated to do small
Yes.
talk. And ever since I've been on Zoloft, it has not been as big of a deal for me. So it's made it
Mm,
easier for me to just be, I don't know, just be silent and not try to talk to people if I don't feel like I need to. It's been great.
mm.
But that I get. And which is unfortunate because small talk is seen as, I guess,
Polite,
uh
mannered.
polite.
Yeah.
Yes.
The shame around that is, especially in the lower, like the southern areas of the United States.
Yeah, you're expected to like exchange pleasantries and
Yeah.
like, talk about the weather, which I do occasionally, but
I feel
usually
like
because
such a
the
white
weather
person when I bring weather up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I
I
did not
won't
just do that.
I won't I've been guilty of that. In fact, yesterday when I was at work, I literally just talked about the weather.
But genuinely,
Not
like,
not just
right?
the weather.
Yeah. I mean, okay, okay. But here's the thing: when I talk about the weather, for example, compared to like just pleasantries, I'm literally info dumping what I've learned about the
I I feel that. I pull up my phone so I can get
weather.
a daily rundown of what the
Yeah.
temperature is going to be like, which by the way, in the midweek it's going to be in the 50s again. That's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. But yes, no, I feel that.
It's not that you do, it's how you do it.
Yes. And us autists definitely do it a certain way.
Mm, yeah. We're like, oh, you asked about something? Here's the whole encyclopedia.
Yeah, we don't know what small talk
Never
is.
ask me again.
We only do big talk. We do
Big
big
talk.
talk in
We do
this
TED
household.
Talks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of TED Talks we both share with each other
Oh, my
is
gosh.
innumerable.
All right. Are you finished with your input of your data analysis of Muyo?
I am
Oh, oh,
finished with my data analysis of myself.
oh, okay. Would you like to hear Dez's data analysis?
Absolutely.
What if you said no? I would be like, ah, okay, shit, damn.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining.
Be like,
Nah.
that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. Okay. So, Yes, I did two different tests because the first questions, like the first one, I literally was like, am I understanding these questions correctly? Like I kept gaslighting myself. And I was like, what if I'm choosing the wrong thing because I don't understand the question? Like that. So that crossed my brain. I said, well, let me do a different test. They all were the same questions, by the way. So
Makes sense.
I
Yeah.
was like, damn it. But for some reason, the second time I did the test, everything clicked for me. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So, and you can see the difference of understanding, not by much, but a difference. So the first test I did, I got 136. But the second test I did, I got 146. So there was
Okay.
something I didn't quite understand. I was like, okay, fair enough. So my social relatedness, right? So the neurotypical is like 8 to 10. For an autistic person, it said it was like 67 roughly. Me minus 58. So I'm somewhat close to the autistic, like social relatedness, but I also feel like in comparison to like if we're gonna go like the gender expectations of society, like men aren't typically, I guess, pressured or seen to be as social as women. So I was like,
Definitely.
okay, so maybe that was something that just developed, for me, because I learned to mask and kind of read into like certain like observations with people and kind of made sense of it. Because I will say, like as a kid, I was not the one to initiate conversations, and I always felt like out of sync and things like that with kids my age. Like when they would do certain stuff, like dancing or cheerleading or like games, like I was always like, it never like really. I always was watching everyone and being like, how could I be more like them and like more connected? Like I overthunk a lot of things of interacting, like natural behaviors, and I just felt like I had to find a way to blend in, if that makes sense.
That does.
Um, circumscribed interest is about what your interests are, and if it's adverse compared to the neurotypical way. So neurotypical again was 8. The autistic is about 80. For me, I was 55. So I was relatively lower on that, which makes sense. I talked about, me being interested in a lot of things that most kids were interested in, like pop culture and things like that. So it's like, okay. But I don't think these kids were sitting down and looking up the Wikipedia of each artist either. I would literally have a whole like diagram of like, well, like for example, Paramore was one of my like biggest interests growing up, and I went through like all the relationships of like Paramore members and like who dated who and like when this album came out, this is what was going on and like all these things. So I was like, yeah, like that checks out.
You mean people don't normally do that?
No. Um,
Damn it.
yeah, damn it. Sensory motor. So as a kid, I was always considered like clumsy and like, just falling over everything, like having 2 left feet and having poor depth perception, which, makes sense. I wear glasses for that now. But my sensory motor, the neurodivergent, it said it was 68 minus 68 as well. So I got like right on the
Holy.
the level. I was like, yeah, that kind of checks
Holy
out.
moly.
I mean, me, because even when I've watched videos of me, like as a kid, and even now, like how I walk around and how I like uh uh physically move, I see it. Like I'm like, oh, I was like, no wonder so many people have like said, oh, I thought you were autistic, stuff like that. Because I'm like, just how I move, I was like, yeah, I move really like like they're still hiding it. Like I have one head cocked to one side, my hands are doing the little dinosaur things, or one of them is, and you know, like I'm always looking like I'm like deep inspecting something. So I'm like, yeah, yeah, it checks out. Now, here's the funny thing. Okay, so I saved the best one for last. Language. Neurotypical said it was 10. Neurodivergent is 50. Mine's 98.
Oh, oh wow. Wow, that is wow, that's
Know where all my score went to.
yeah, that is wild.
But I always tell people like I'm verbally dyslexic. English is not my first language, and it is, but I've always used that as like my funny, you know, like haha, English isn't my first language. Um, and it makes a lot of sense because I do prefer writing and I do prefer texting and visual stuff. I don't really care for communication. Also because like I get the anxiety part of it, but also it's exhausting all the time to communicate. And I guess I also grew up getting misunderstood a lot. So that kind of inverted me to be more uh, comfortable and safe with writing because I'm like, people will understand me better. And people do say that, like, when they read what I write versus how I speak, they're like, what the fuck? They're like, this one seems like a child that doesn't know how to, like, it's just learning how to speak human language. And then writing, people have told me I have like old people writing, and like it's like so detailed and oriented. But I did used to read the dictionary for fun, so there's that.
Oh,
But as a kid, like I used to make for fun, I used to make PowerPoints and stuff, and so it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
that does, yeah. The tie in between the language and the circumscribed interests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really like really like looking back. I like how our scores are so close to each other though.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's quite funny.
Yeah, but your language was the lowest.
It's at neurotypical levels.
Yeah, and mine's like past neurodivergent. So
Your
this
language is
bitch.
off the charts, baby.
This bitch does she does she sends telepathic communication. Big brain.
Big brain time.
But if you tell me to like learn a second language or learn sign language, my brain's just like, it's like I don't,
It is a lot.
I do not understand. uh,
Yeah, no, I feel that. I learning a second language is hard.
it is. It is. So yeah, those are my my scores. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Like honestly. Um yeah. I didn't uh I didn't realize that there was a scale on those subcategories too.
That was the
So I didn't
second
even
test I did. Yeah.
oh I see, okay.
Yeah. It had like little
The
bars and demographics showing all the.
ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So language is that is so interesting. I wouldn't have even expected to score the same as neurotypicals. That's interesting.
I know, like you saying that yours was so low, but I was like, I was like, I have seen you articulate really well. But it's interesting because you and I both share the same anxieties. Remember we talked about like with authority figures, like our over analyzing, processing, like in that moment sort of communication.
Yeah.
So I was like, why would his language be so low though? Because, we have a lot of similarities with that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That is interesting. That's probably the one thing that I would have the most questions about, because every other subcategory makes sense for me because um my hyperfixations tend to fluctuate a lot
Yeah,
due
yeah.
to ADHD. Uh,
Your sensory motor makes a lot of sense.
it does, yes. Especially growing up.
You want to talk about one thing that you said to me when we first, like when I first started working at, well, your old job, but my still current job. You said something to me about when you feel like you walk out from like your position, like at the time, and you would be like going to the bathroom or something like that. And you said it always feels like people find you or know exactly where you are, like as soon as you start walking out in public. And that sort of like being like feeling like you're on a stage or like that you're exposed or constantly being like you're hyper aware that your existence is being perceived.
Yeah,
And I think that might go into like the sensory motor and the social relatedness aspects to both.
I could see that. Yeah,
Because, like, for example, I move awkwardly. I feel like I move awkwardly. So that makes me feel like a sore thumb compared to other people, like out in public. So people will take quick, like, more notice. Not to sound conceited, but it's so obtuse compared to normalcy.
yeah. I think for me, like, I always overthought how I looked and how I walked. So we had a coworker, and well, he used to joke about the way I walked.
Mm,
Uh, and I mean, I don't know. I didn't take it to heart.
mm-hmm.
Because by that point, I'd already sort of just, I guess, made
Accepted.
peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, accepted that that's just the way I walk.
Like, I can't
But
change it, buddy. Damn.
yeah, but people would say I would just walk robotically, or I would.
No, you don't walk robotically, but like, yeah, I feel like you're stiff sometimes, but at the same time, I also feel like if you feel like you're being perceived, maybe it was like a fight or flight sort of response where you like you freeze or you become more rigid because of it.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Do they say you walk like a question mark?
I don't. I don't. I don't think so. But anytime I'm looking for something, people think I look lost. So I don't know if that's also an autism thing, but when I was doing Christmas for Kids with my
Oh
work,
no.
with my coworkers, I
Yeah.
was just kind of looking for stuff. One of my coworkers was like, "Hey, Mo, you all right?"
Oh no.
I was just like, "Yeah." They didn't mean anything by it, but I guess I genuinely just always look lost when I'm
Or
looking for
puzzled.
something
Yeah.
or puzzled, and it's
I can
like,
see that. Yeah. I know, I think I know what they mean because like you have this like kind of blank expression on your face, but it's in a way that like it looks like the fact that you're thinking and trying to find something, but like that blank expression makes it come off like I'm a newborn baby and I just popped up here and I don't know what I'm doing here. You know, like that meme of it's Pulp Fiction, but it's John Travolta and he's just like
yeah, just
that's the yeah.
the the
Yes.
yeah
I make that
that
face. I try to look like I'm okay. One of my masking things is whenever I feel like I'm exposed in front of people, like around in public, I try to look like I'm doing something of importance, even though I'm not.
that's a solid skill to have.
But like I do it because I don't want like I don't want people to assume I'm not doing anything, even though I am not doing anything. But it's like it's almost like a protective thing that I'm doing because I don't want to be singled out.
Yep, I did something similar when I worked there.
Yeah.
So I feel that.
And I hate that. It's like, why do I have to constantly be busy and like on fight or flight just because like I don't want you guys to perceive and assume something? Like, oh,
Yep. Uh,
it
that
just makes me
place.
more awkward.
It does. That's one of the reasons why I quit that place too.
Yeah.
So, and we both know each other's reasons
Yeah.
and what we think about that place. And
I
in
clocked
the
that place as soon as that first month. I was like, my pattern recognition is tingling. I was like,
my autism senses are tingling.
yep. I was like, systematic imbalances, dynamics. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then things just went downhill from there.
Yep.
Oh boy.
But
And
like, uh huh.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna hop to something else. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the company, which will not be named because I have to maintain some air of decorum and professionalism,
Of course.
unfortunately. But uh
He likes spilling the tea if you could.
I I will say leaving that place was one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
Fair enough. Because I think, I think you felt like people already had like this sort of narrative about you. And it's so hard to, it's just, first of all, it's exhausting and you shouldn't have to, but it's so hard to change people's perspectives or opinions about you once they made their mind up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way that some people are just too set in their ways about their opinions of you, and it was
Yeah.
better to just not care anymore, which
Right.
has been a good lesson to learn, actually. I
Right.
feel like,
It helps with self-esteem too.
yeah. So, despite it not being a healthy work environment, it did teach me valuable life skills,
And I love that.
and in the essence of not caring what other people think of you.
Yeah, you saw me struggling. I mean, I still like have moments like that, but you've seen me struggle with that, like at that job. Where, and the one thing that you told me, and I remember you said this, and I was like, wow, I've never seen someone articulate it that way. That makes so much sense. You would say, like, some people just don't have all the context, of what you're doing or what you're going through or whatever it may be. And therefore, like, and they're not obligated to, like, they're not, like they don't need to because it's not their business, but people will make their own assumptions, and that's just them. Like you have to understand that they're not going to know everything because, and I think that's also why I tended to over explain all the time, because I wanted people to understand the context, because maybe once they did, then I was worthy enough to eh, to be feel safe and to function in my own space.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's valid.
Yeah.
So,
Mujo and I are autistic.
yes. What is very funny about that is I actually talked to my therapist about that.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, like, because I do talk about, like, I did bring up, like, what we're doing with the podcast and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I mentioned that, like, not to self diagnose myself, but I think I'm probably on the spectrum. And she's like, well, I thought so too.
Oh.
I was like, it was like, yeah, makes sense.
And see, like that's like when I brought up to like all three of like my mental health team and about like my possibility of being autistic, they all never like immediately was like, nah, no, 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 like no, no. They were just like, well, if you think you're on it, chances are, and if you're already doing the research, chances are higher than none, you know?
Definitely a non-zero chance.
Right. But the craziest thing is like when I look at it because I have severe developmental trauma and, or, complex PTSD, and looking back at that, that can cause someone to have a lot of behavior, uh, similarities and cognitive and neuro, whatever the brain thing is, all of it can look akin to autism. because of how your brain develops. So it's almost like, okay, maybe possibly I wasn't born autistic, but I developed into like that sort of frame of mind essentially. But I also want to make this known, looking at childhood videos of me as a kid and knowing like one of the first two core thoughts I had as a child in my own identity and self. I was like, first of all, I was thinking too intensely as a kid. And secondly, uh, while I was thinking too intensely as a kid, when I used to walk around and everything, no one thought I was thinking of anything. There was so much going on in here that I barely knew what was going on out here. And one of the common things is like when you're a kid, if someone tries to call your name, you tend to have like a delayed response to it cognitively. And they actually, like my family, caught that on video of me, like at 2 to 3 years old, having those issues and stuff. So they thought, she's just a little different. Like my whole life, they're like, oh, you're just weird. You're just different. You're unique. I think you're trying to say I'm autistic and you just don't want to say it.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a taboo for some reason when honestly there's nothing that should be taboo about it.
Right. Like I understand, like maybe because you don't know so much about something and you don't want to label someone. I totally understand that. And we should celebrate everyone's uniqueness in a way. But how much of you not acknowledging something is actually hindering that person? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I think also, if you want to, like, if you're listening to this podcast, I also want to uh, relay the message that if you suspect that you might be on the spectrum, go ahead and look up the RAADS test and take it. There's a bunch of free options online, and it's about an 80 questionnaire, and you go through it, and yeah, just see where you lie on the spectrum, if at all, and it's free too. So, um, yeah, take the leap of faith.
Yes. The one that I think we both took was on the Embrace Autism website.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it would show up something like RAADS-R Embrace Autism on Google if you search it up.
It should be one of the first options.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I recommend it. It at least gives insight to what you may feel is autism or not autism.
Nautism.
Nautism. Autism or nautism.
That should be the title of this episode.
I like that. Autism or nautism. I like that.
I like that, yeah.
I have to note that because I will forget if I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you guys.
Hopefully you enjoyed the deep dive into the test, and hopefully it was at least somewhat entertaining. I'm unsure what we will talk about next, but I guess
I know we have it written down, but we'll talk about it.
Yes. You will not want to miss
whatever it is.
Next topic here. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope you had fun listening to us. And we will see you guys next time on the Co-Mental Podcast.
Hell yeah.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.